Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. Yesterday, Republicans who run the U.S. House of Representatives postponed floor votes so they could hold their ninth hearing about Benghazi. Instead of working on any number of pressing issues affecting Americans, Republicans spent 9 hours on a political witch hunt. Unsurprisingly, their so-called whistleblowers, who were supposed to blow the lid off some huge conspiracy, ended up debunking many of the right-wing talking points we'd heard about the attack. As the Think Progress blog explains, yesterday's testimony made clear that F-16s could not have prevented the second wave of attacks. Hillary Clinton did not lie about diplomatic cables, and the only reason a special forces team was told not to deploy to Benghazi was that another team was already on its way. So Republicans wasted 9 hours and countless taxpayer dollars on a hearing that confirmed everything we've been told in the previous 8 hearings that they've held about the attack. The only thing being covered up here is the fact that last year, the Republicans voted to cut the U.S. Embassy security funding by $300 million. Instead of politicizing the deaths of 4 Americans in Benghazi, House Republicans should have focused on our economy, on bringing jobs back from overseas, or reversing the austerity measures that are gutting our vital agencies. But they won't do any of those things because there's a chance that could help President Obama. Republicans should stop wasting time and get to work on the issues most Americans actually care about. We get it. You hate the president, want to prevent Hillary Clinton from running in 2016. Now, get to work, please. In screwed news, the Republican National Committee wants even more money in politics. On Tuesday, the RNC filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court arguing that there should be no annual limit on personal campaign contributions. In its next term, the Supreme Court will hear the case of McCutcheon versus the FEC, which challenges so-called aggregate limits on political donations. Aggregate limits are the total amount a single donor can give to all political recipients in a 2-year election cycle. According to McCutcheon, and now the RNC itself, limits on political donations limit free speech rights under the First Amendment. McCutcheon's brief states, quote, aggregate limits penalize those who wish to exercise their First Amendment rights robustly, end quote. And the RNC contends that these limits are, quote, restrictive of campaign expression rights, end quote. This is all an extension of the money is the same thing as speech argument and proof that the wealthy want the right to have way more speech than the rest of us. We shouldn't be opening the campaign finance floodgates wider. We should be putting a stop to the current outright purchase of our politicians. If the Supreme Court won't stop it, we will. Join the fight at movetoamend.org. In the best of the rest of the news, Senator Elizabeth Warren is standing up for students. In her first bill as a U.S. Senator, Warren seeks to set student loan interest rates at the same level the Federal Reserve offers to big banks. In a speech on the Senate floor, she said, why not give students a break? Why not let them in on the same great deal that the big banks get? As of July 1st, some student loan interest rates will double from 3.4% to 6.8%, but Senator Warren's bill would cut their interest rates down to less than 1%. And she plans to mobilize students to help her push the bill through the Senate. Today, the average student graduates with more than $26,000 in debt. And the chances of finding a good-paying job after college are lower than they've been in decades. In a press statement, the co-director of the Campaign for America's Future endorsed the bill, saying, quote, instead of kicking students when they're down, we should end the student debt crisis, end quote. And he's right. It's time for students instead of banksters to get a bailout. Call your senators today and tell them to support Elizabeth Warren's Bank on Students Loan Fairness Act. Only 3 years after the world's worst oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, Royal Dutch Shell wants to drill in waters twice as deep as BP's Deepwater Horizon. On Wednesday, the company confirmed that it would move forward with the project to drill for oil nearly 2 miles beneath the surface of the Gulf. John Hollowell, the executive vice president for Deepwater Shell, Upstream Americas, said, we're excited about the opportunity and we're ready to execute the project. When the BP well ruptured in 2010, it took the oil giant 3 months to figure out how to cap it. During that time, crude oil and toxic dispersants spewed into the Gulf, choking off life and destroying the local tourism industry. Now Shell wants to drill in waters twice as deep? What's it going to take for them to learn from their mistakes? The fact that Big Oil didn't learn anything from the BP oil disaster shows that they never will and shows exactly why we must move to cleaner, greener energy. And finally, there's a really big tea bag in Australia. But no, Ted Cruz isn't making an international appearance. Australia's biggest morning tea company says it made a 330-pound tea bag to raise money for charity, and they're confident that their tea bag is the world's biggest. Currently, a company in Portsmouth, England, holds the world record for the 260-pound tea bag, but it's dwarfed in comparison by the 9-foot-tall tea bag in Australia. The company spokesman said the bag could make 100,000 cups of tea, but they wouldn't be dunking it in any hot water because they don't have a cup big enough. He said that could be next year's record, perhaps, the world's biggest teacup. Giant tea bag. Looks like we finally found something both Michelle Bachmann and Marcus Bachmann can be excited about. And that's the way it is today, Thursday, May 9th, 2013. I'm Thom Hartmann.